Hello everyone, welcome to another video here on the channel. Hopefully I earned your sub today. I'm almost to 1,000, and yeah, so the Batman Arkham Trilogy is often considered some of the best action-adventure games of last generation. Heck, Batman Arkham Knight is still used as a benchmark for open-world games and their fidelity. Remember when Gotham Knights came out? Everyone went to Batman Arkham Knight and say, this came out 10 years ago, look at this. This came out recently, what the hell happened? So it's still any of these games are widely considered still one of the best action-adventure games of all time. They still hold up today despite being over 10 years old. But they're finally coming to the Nintendo Switch hardware, which if you know anything about the Nintendo Switch, you know that it's aging hardware. Chances are you're going to get very inferior versions of this game. It doesn't even include Batman Arkham Origins. I'm not really sure why they don't include Arkham Origins, because it's not considered canon, but technically it is, because the new Suicide Squad game technically is using the same system. You know, the same cliffhanger that was in Batman Arkham Origins, where Amanda Waller comes to Slade and says, hey, we got a deal for you, and that's where the Suicide Squad game does take place in the Arkham universe. So, you know, I don't know, like, I played Arkham Origins, and yes, it's considered the weaker of the Arkham series, but it's not a bad game. A lot of people do appreciate it for what it is. Yeah, the open world is very empty and barren, and the Riddler challenges literally feel like they were just afterthoughts, but the game is still really well received, so I don't know why. So the two games in the Nintendo Switch port of Batman Arkham Trilogy are digital only. Last week, we got a Nintendo Direct, which was filled with a slew of announcements, including a compilation of the mainline Batman Arkham series. But if you were expecting all these games to fit into one cartridge, you will be disappointed. Yeah, this is expected. Like, Overwatch was actually a digital voucher on the Nintendo Switch. Same thing for the Kingdom Hearts games. Yeah, so look, the Nintendo Switch cartridge can't hold much data. Yeah, a lot of people would argue Legend of Zelda, Xenoblade Chronicles, but for those games, I would argue they probably had Nintendo's help in constructing those games, because they were Switch exclusive, so Nintendo's going to go the extra mile for these games, especially if it's their in-house brand like Legend of Zelda. But when it comes to third-party games, it's more like an afterthought. Like, anyone who's played Doom Eternal on the Switch, my friend had a copy of Doom Eternal on the Switch, and when I played that thing, it was, oh my god, like, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but that was not good. Like, get that game on any other platform except for Switch. But yeah, so in a fact posted by Warner Brothers Interactive, the publisher confirmed those who buy a physical copy of Batman Arkham Trilogy only get Batman Arkham Asylum on the cartridge, while Arkham City and Arkham Knight are digital copies only. More interestingly, the fact notes that this cartridge needs to be in the Switch if you want to play Arkham City or Arkham Knight despite not physically being on the cartridge. What the fuck? Why? Like, why? That means that the cartridge is just a digital key. Like, it's a security key that you... Why? Dude, this is something that I feel publishers are going to do. It's going to be the new multiplayer voucher. If you don't know what the multiplayer voucher is, it's something that EA implemented. I think Ubisoft also had it, where you had to buy the game new, and they would give you a digital voucher in order to access the multiplayer content. And if you didn't have that voucher, you had to pay $20 to access multiplayer content. It was a stupid, asinine, anti-consumer policy in order to combat used games. And since then they phased it out, which thank god they did. But this seems like why even buy the game physically then? Like, I get the Nintendo Switch cartridge is small, but if you're not even to give the players full access to all these games, then why buy it? They're just saying, like, just buy it on the eShop. Like, there's literally no reason to not buy it on the eShop at this point, and they get a bigger cut on this. They save money on it. Why waste manufacturing it, or even like plastic on this stuff? Like, if you know anything about Nintendo's digital eShops, you know they shut them down very frequently. Like, they barely last like 5 years. Like, the Xbox 360's digital marketplace lasted longer than the 3DS, the Wii, and the Wii U. Think about that. And when they shut down these stores, that's it. You lose access to ever downloading these games or anything. I believe so. Like, I tried to download my Pokemon Crystal version on the 3DS. Can't do it. So that's a loss of like $10 from me. But yeah, Nintendo has a notorious habit of shutting down their digital stores, and their digital stores suck too. Look, I love Nintendo games, but dear God, I only buy physical versions of the games because of their digital store habits. Like, their entire culture around it is just so asinine. Say what you will about what Sony was doing about the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable and PS Vita stores. Yeah, they kept the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita, but they shut down the PSP. At least they lasted like over a decade, I would argue. I think it was about a decade. I'm not really sure, but it was much longer than the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U. So why even buy these games? Like, why even waste the plastic? Like, Remedy Entertainment, despite popular controversies, stated that they're not releasing a physical version of Alan Wake 2 to keep costs down, which I would love a physical copy of Alan Wake 2, and they probably will do one through limited run games or one of those manufacturers who do physical cartridges for games that are digital only. But yeah, they actually have a valid reason. They were like, hey, we can't to keep costs down and to ensure a fluid production, we're just gonna omit a physical version of the game, and they pass down the savings to the consumer. If the game is $50, like a game like that will probably be like $60, $70. $70 is the new norm, but they passed on the deals to the consumer. We're like, it's cheaper, we're gonna make it much easier for you to afford this game. But here, I'm going to assume this game is $60. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's actually look it up. Trilogy. They don't have a price listed yet, so we can't know if they're going to charge $60 or even $70 for this thing. And again, these games came out over 10 years ago. Batman Arkham Knight is still held in high regard as one of the greatest action-adventure games of all time. It's just like, you're going to get inferior versions of this game. This is like a huge advertisement for the Steam Deck. Like, just get that. Spend $500, get the Steam Deck, and you'll save yourself a lot of headache from the Switch. This is not the first third-party Nintendo Switch port deemed too big to fit on a single cartridge. One notable example includes the physical copies of Overwatch, not including cartridge. Yeah, like I stated. Yada yada yada. In addition, all the DLC released to the 3 games, except Arkham Origins and all that. So I think this is complete garbage. They should just say we're not going to release these games physically because they can't fit. Because at this point, you're literally using the cartridge as a security key just to access the other 2 games. And why would you want that headache when you could just buy it on the eShop and just save yourself the issue of having to get the physical cartridge in order to access the other 2 games, which will likely be inferior versions of those wonderful trilogies. And it just really annoys the fuck out of me because this is just such an anti-consumer move, and I don't know why they're doing this. Like, it makes no sense. Yeah, there is a market for people who want physical releases. I'm one of those people. I know, call me a boomer, but I like having a physical collection of my games. And if you're really tech savvy, not like me, I'm not tech savvy to that degree, you can back up your games using certain third-party software, and that's what people do. Mudahar does that for his Subordinary Gamers channel. He says he back up his games because certain games end up changing over time, even if they're digital only. I know I'm going a bit of a tangent, but this is something that has happened and you should be aware of this. GTA has a lot of licensed music, and once the license for those games expire, they remove the music digitally, so you can't access it anymore. But if you back up the game, the original physical releases of those games, you can still access those musical tracks within those games. They can't remove those from physical releases. And it's the same issue here because, again, eventually Nintendo's going to end service for the Switch. They're going to end that, and it's going to be very quickly once they stop making Switch consoles. And after that, you're screwed. You can't access Arkham City or Arkham Origins once they shut out the eShop, and then they say just download your games, and you have to keep it on those very small memory cards that if you didn't get a third-party memory card, that probably Nintendo might analyze and shut out your Switch because they have notorious history of doing that as well. It's such a headache at this point. Why even waste your money on this trilogy on the Nintendo Switch if it's going to be inferior? You have all these restrictions, and it's just like they're treating you like garbage. Just get it on like the Xbox or the PlayStation or the Steam, or get it on Steam or even Epic Games. Like this is just so annoying. I hate this. But yeah, probably if you want the portable version of the Batman Arkham games, likely you save yourself a lot more headaches and a lot more problems if you just invest into a Steam Deck if you can afford one, and then just getting the trilogy off that, because usually the trilogies sell for less than $10 nowadays. Like I remember I got the entire Arkham Trilogy on my Xbox Series X for $3 during a Black Friday sale. All those games. So just saying. Either way, that's it from me. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and that's me signing out.